Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Pillow, and I'm pleased to be welcoming you guys back to the Awesomenauts Rumble June Gathers Finals. We are now in the losers final of our tournament today. It's two teams that we've become extremely familiar with: XiPang Disciples versus Terribly Named Team. Casting on with me today is once again the legend himself, Devmon. You hanging in there, sir?
I wouldn't consider myself a legend, but I am here indeed. So I'm ready to see some exciting matches between XiPang Disciples and TNT.
Absolutely. Same here, same here. I want to give everyone a reminder that we are doing our bet system. Type who you think is going to win into the chat, and if you guess correctly, you're going to be eligible for a giveaway after the match. You have until the match begins to get your guesses in. Devmon, why don't you take us through these comps, sir?
Sure. So let's start off the map then, going back to Aguilion, which is again the map of the Stealth Orb. A lot of tight spaces, a lot of opportunities to set up kills. Ban knots for both teams include Vinny and Spike early on, as well as Leon early on. And that is met with an early pick of Genji for XiPang Disciples because Genji is extremely powerful and got through the ban phase. That's also met with Penny, who's been really comboed with Genji in terms of fighting against each other. You've got one with the silence, you've got one that does everything but a silence, and you've got some combat going there. TNT's also going to pick up a Scree pick, which is actually kind of surprising how much Scree's been picked up so far in these matches, and that's going to be met with a Swiggins pick. So you've got Genji and Swiggins versus Penny and Scree. Last bans include Scoop Ban of all things, which I haven't seen in a while, and an X-Ban. So banning out those green knots. This is followed by a Jimmy in the Luck spot being picked up with the team of the Genji, and Max Focus, who is kind of a monster on Aguilion given the tight and close quarter spaces. So we'll have to see how that goes. Do you have any opinions on the team compositions that they have there, Mr. Pillow?
Well, it's definitely some very interesting combos that you see going on here. And you kind of definitely see kind of a, I wouldn't say that it's non-traditional knots, but not traditionally put together in the order that they are. So, like, Penny, Scree, and Max, I would say that's kind of a new one. I can see what they're going for here. That Swiggins and Jimmy it's pretty hard for them to kill, especially because they let the Genji slip. Honestly, I think XiPang Disciples is a much easier comp to use, and is a lot more powerful, especially in that late game. A lot more brawling potential, but there are things the Terribly Named Team can do. Getting the the max focus bubbles and saw blades, getting those ganks set up, and then having the amazing team fight and just brawling potential that Penny is. I do hope we see Amplify coming out on her. That would be very, very significant for Terribly Named Team. And they have the ability to just deal out a bunch of damage and are very much focused on just erasing people. The main thing that's going to really be hurting them is the Monarch Blessing. They're going to have to play around that and the lockdown that the red team has, because they have Luck Strike, they got Anchor Hook, they got Cocoon. These are all things that make it so, that just kind of force your hand and put you in a place that you don't want to be and force a team fight to start, even though you don't want to take one. So they're going to have to be very, very careful on that and watch out so they don't get caught out. And I guess my question is, like, how will the blue team have to play in order to, not sit behind their turret the whole game, but not constantly get anchored and constantly get cocooned?
I think the solution is actually through two different methods. The first method is Max Missing Illumination. With enough damage, he can just punch through the enemy team, and given its slow cooldown, it's going to do a lot of harass work. Otherwise, the totem from Scree is actually going to do a lot to block what the red team wants to do. Say somebody gets cocooned. If you throw a totem right before the cocoon, you're able to protect the person in the cocoon a lot better in a situation like that. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really hoping that we see a time slow bubble followed up with a Penny Pulse to get that 1.2 second silence just amplified even more. That's something I'm waiting to see for this match.
Absolutely. And just the massive amount of damage that they can do. If you get a 25% amplify going, then Saw Blade and Seeing Illumination, they will erase a Jimmy that has a Monarch Blessing. I'm not even joking. It will do so much. But with that said, Devmon, do you have any other thoughts, or are you ready to want to point out?
Not at all. I think it'll show pretty well in the game, and depending on how they set things, how they play, we'll see how things go.
Alrighty, I am at the 21-second mark. Would you like to give us a countdown, sir?
Oh, sure. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and go. Here we are, roughing the rest of them. We have Mr. Manager playing your Genji, Paulo playing your Baby in a Suit, and Body Hunter playing Abyssal Swiggins. On the other team, Triggerfinger is not playing Rocco, but is indeed playing the Max Focus. We have Luco playing your Gun Penny, and by that I mean Desperado Penny, who may pick up a gun. And Jazz plays Scree, so we'll have to see how things go. Early pickups include the Galactic Police Scanner, which is the projectile particles for auto attack on Max, which is quite interesting, does quite a lot of damage, and just AoE for Swiggins, pretty standard. Damage on Saw, pretty standard. And also pretty standard. An early kill, perhaps, on Mr. Matry. Maybe not quite. Luco's looking like he's in a bad position. Gets picked off by Body Hunter. Meanwhile, Blue Team try to capitalize it and manages to pick off Genji just barely. Jimmy in the Lux But's looking hurt, and Body Hunter's in a very bad situation. He manages to get himself trapped in the Blue Team jungle, leaving the Blue Team up one extra kill than the Red Team. Even Paulo to defend by himself as that Baby in a Suit. Really, at this point, nothing's not going to happen for quite a bit. It's going to take him a while to get going, especially Max, who relies on certain upgrades like Kraken to really do a lot of the damage. However, in this situation, looks like he's gone just straight for the auto attack. Might combo that up with the Address of the Stars for the double burst combo for those big team fights. Otherwise, Jimmy is Danger Pins, does quite a lot, and decided not to piggyback into him. Looks like it still paid off and was not the thing he needed to do, so that's perfectly fine. And Penny's decided to go for double stages of Starstorm Shack to allow her to secure the kill on Paulo there, doing just enough damage. Jazz is going to poke as much as possible to get the Saw Blade on Mr. Manager, but Mr. Manager's auto attack as Genji is going to be able to keep him alive and get the health creeps quite easily, actually, in that situation. Blue Team's headed by a couple kills now, and they've got a little bit of tower chip on the top tower, looking to focus that one first. Swiggins gets a little bit aggressive, but gets slowed down by the time bubble having to back off. His Blue Heart's Metal is going to increase his anchor dive damage, which allows the Red Team to play quite a bit more aggressively, given that extra damage, and that is actually going to help out when Paulo finishes off Trigger, the Max Focus there.
That was it's a very nice fight so far. I want to point out that we're just at the 2 minute and 30 second, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and we're already at 5 kills. And this is, you know, only 3 teams left in the tournament. We're gonna see Jazz get hooked here. He charged into Genji, who is unable to finish him. Only has that base auto attack going on at the moment, but still very good. Kind of set him up and pitch him off sort of gameplay. Miss Cocoon taking a little bit chip from scene elimination. However, now he's packing the Stealth Orb. A Stealth Orb on Genji is going to be an extremely scary thing for the blue team, especially if they're not paying attention and they don't even realize that it happens. There is the Cocoon on a trigger figure. Not much is going to be able to happen because it was the turret. Kraken going to hit Manager. Saw Blade coming out. Paulo taking a lot of damage, going down 30 HP, 40, and the last hit went out from Lucopal's Penny right there, and that's going to be another frag in favor of the terribly named team. Now let's left Mr. Manager on the top lane to defend, and he's going to get caught out by the totem. Very, very nice totem going out from Jazz 123C. The entirety of terribly named team collapses on him, completely cutting him off from his turret. Body Hunter goes in, gets a revenge kill on Lucopal, just using that Agent Nocturne and Blue Heart. He might go in, he might be able to pick up another kill off of Jazz 123C, but he gets trapped under the totem with the right jump pad, and now he's taking a lot of damage, and here comes the slow-mo shot, and they just keep on daring to go. There's the scene illumination. Now he's hooked, and now it's Paulo versus Jazz and Trigger. There gets them both low, and they have to get out before he uses the auto attack and danger bins combo to finish them off. They're going to be marching up the top lane to get some push going. Jason, Luco, and Trigger all there to defend. We're going to see a Miss Cocoon and Sawblade learn the droids and a rotation down to bottom lane in order to just kind of reset the momentum here. Might be a little skirmish coming out. They're going to see the totem on the top lane, a little bit of an auto attack check in place. Cocoon, Lucopal in mid, slow-mo shot counter initiating. All 3 members of the red team caught, but not before Paulo can last hit Luco. Missiles going on to Trigger. He is hooked, but not before he can last hit Paulo with his auto attack there. And that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Both teams contesting the top lane, but not really committing to each other. Very, very back and forth gameplay. There is 2 kills in favor and terribly named team right now, hence they have a lot more push on that top turret. But overall, it seems each team is faring reasonably at around the same pace as each other in these fights. Devmon, what would you say will tip the fights to the edge of one team?
Well, at the moment, I think the Invisibility Orb is like a good contender there, especially since Genji's picked that up. Cocoon from Invisibility is a really easy gank to follow up with, or it might be a charge or whatnot. Other than that, I have to say the blue team, if they get enough poke, they might have the ability to go in there and just really get aggressive. And he's gone for the damage and Silence Pulse on top of Starstorm statue. Actually, sorry, speaking of which, Cocoon goes in, and Jazz is going to get out there. The totem on top of the bounce pad is almost enough to finish off Paulo there. Jazz is going to go into the red team jungle, look to attack from behind, escape the Cocoon, avoid death, but it's not enough to save Trigger. In fact, it's actually finished off by Swiggins in this situation. Well, they had the advantage there for that team fight. The red team has turned it around and managed to get a triple kill. They're looking to push that top, and they're going to do so uncontested. And all that damage that you see on the red team turret is going to be met easily with the what they've pushed right now. You can see it's at 1/3. It may as well just go down right this second. And the red team's going to have the invisibility again, so if the blue team comes out, that might be another team fight they force, and it might be the momentum they need to just win the game outright.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if it also comes down to, you know, some of the upgrades that they could be getting, we actually see Swiggins, he's building into a lot of damage here, and he's getting that break. And I think that the blue team, one thing that's easy to overlook is they don't really have the right. They don't have much HP. If you when you think about it, they have totem to help them defend. They have counter initiation tools, but really and truly, you know, they don't have any real tank. So they have to be really selective with their fights. And here's a big engagement here, and they're doing a lot of damage. That magic sunball is going in, but Paulo manages to charge Trigger completely out of position. Looks like he's gonna lag out of there and is fine. Questionable.
Maybe a little bit so, but even still, like, that's surprising that Max survived that big burst. One of the things about Max is that knockback, any form of knockback, is really deadly to him because it really stops his momentum, kind of forces him into that direction for quite a long time. Usually accompanied with a stun, like a penny pouncer, whatnot. But in this situation, he was able to get out just fine. And like you're saying before, blue team doesn't have a lot of natural bulk. They're fairly fragile for what they are. They're relying on counter initiation tools in the forms of silence, totem, knockback, and just the slow-mo shots just to really keep themselves alive. Whether or not that might be enough for them late game, we'll have to see, because damage gets a little bit crazy. Like in this situation where the stun balls almost finishes off Body Hunter, Trigger goes in and manages to finish him off with his giant deadly cannon, and decides to go after Genji instead. Genji's looking healthy, so he's going to back off. And blue team's left in a situation where they basically equalize the push. The only thing they need now is just that top tower to really help them on the edge. It looks like they've been pushing as much as possible with that totem as well.
And they're doing a really good job. Jazz always has a really impressive scree. He's, you know, scree has I think a very high skill ceiling. It's not that it's hard to kind of get the inner mechanics on. It's you know, he can do so much as he's gonna run. That's gonna waste saying Luco gonna get Cocoon, slow-mo shot, counter initiation, not gonna be enough. Entirety of XiPang disciples collapsing. Gonna also take down just 123C, who stayed too long trying to save Luco. That's gonna leave Trigger alone to defend. And the scene illumination coming down. He's doing his best to defend. He's going to be taking missiles. It's going to bring him down to 860 HP. Lane retaining the top, zoned out by Genji. He's going to have to make a long rotation in order to defend this. It looks like he's considering staying on the bottom lane here. He's going to let Chip on the top happen, and he's going to let Lucapal deal with that so he can go ahead and defend the bottom there. Kraken shot hitting all three members of XiPang disciples. You're going to see Jimmy's going to go ahead. Excuse me, not Jimmy. Swiggins is going to go ahead and head home. And manager Apollo just kind of waited around, potshot Cocoon down through the pit, and not going to hit anything. As you know, conveniently, because now Genji has hit markers, totem with the left pole, left jump pad, no one's going to hit. Jazz picking up the stealth orb. Kind of a little period of footsie knots, but hopefully the stealth orb will lead Jazz to kind of break that, which he is. He's setting up for a totem flank on the left side. We're going to see Cocoon on Luco. Jazz is now on Vils, but not before Luco is already dead. Gets the Saw Blade retrike. The entirety of red team getting really low. We're going to see Paulo and Manager both get taken out. Body Hunter in a really bad spot. This is more than likely going to be a wipeout. There's the Saw Blade. That's a 3-for-1 trade in favor of the terribly named team. They should be able to take out this top turret, and we'll get a reasonable amount of push on the bottom turret as well. Trigger can go ahead and clear up that top lane while Jazz gets the bottom lane moved up. And yeah, I don't see any way that this bottom turret survives, and they're already gonna have really good chip on that top lane. Jimmy and Genji getting back in lane, so that even up the kills. There's a level advantage now in favor of terribly named team, and despite what I said about the HP, I definitely think this is the team fights are now going more and more in favor of TNT. What can XiPang disciples do to get those clean Cocoon kills without trades happening?
So one of the big things that's really holding back. Oh, there's the amp from Penny coming out. Sorry. One of the big things that they're going to need, I think, they might want to consider Baby Carry Mammoth or the extra health through spiritual cooking. Big money investments, but they might be just they need. Baby Carry Mammoth will cut down the time slows, will cut down the stuns, should cut down the amp, but that's a little bit iffy at the moment. But at least it'll help with the silence, which will be more than helpful. And the knockback and stun that Scree has on his totem at the moment, a lot of displacement. Other than that, I think that Swiggins needs to really pick the right targets when he goes in, and they need to focus down as hard as possible. If they can land a really good cocoon and follow up and have the perfect, well, I guess perfect initiation, then they'll have it. I think they'll have it readily, because alone, the blue team's rather easy to pick off, but they've been staying so close together. It's been really good for them to counter-initiate. Such as that case where Swiggins goes in, and the blue team actually collapses on him. Red team's doing tons of damage, and leaves Jazz in the grave as he gets finished off with the charge, thanks to Paulo. And Luco's going to try to escape here. He uses the pounce, barely escapes, and leaves Trigger to defend everything by himself as he picks up a kill with his shotgun onto Paulo there, actually. Equalizing the kills, surprisingly.
Absolutely, and Trigger's doing a good job here. He takes a lot of damage to the lane rotation, but trades it all back with a scene illumination, which you just don't get the room that you need to dodge it on the map of Agilon, because those hallways are so narrow. We're going to see a nice cocoon coming out to Luco. There's not going to be any follow-up available, plus it's right for the enemy turret. It would be a pretty dangerous proposition. Seeing illumination, just keeping those droids clear. Slow-mo shot coming out. It's going to see the totem. We're going to see anchor hook cocoon on Trigger all on that left jump pad there. Probably going to take out Jimmy. And it's going to, well, not take out. Going to take him to 4/5 HP. Take out is a bad word if you were just to be very misconstructive if you were only listening rather than watching. Anchor dive attempt on the blue team jungle, gonna miss. Cocoon and Blessing coming out from Manager, but he gets struck by a totem and he's not able to get out of that jungle, and he's gonna get taken out by that scene illumination. Paulo caught off on his own jump pad, not able to get out, and that's gonna be a 2 for nothing, while Bounty Hunter does a sneaky little teleport in the top lane bush, and that's gonna leave him in a 1v3 scenario as a not particularly good at defending. And he's gonna, and Bounty Hunter gonna get totem back there, and he actually manages to hit all 3 with that Agent Octant, but he doesn't clear the droids in the process of it. Still probably worth. Genji coming back in lane now. We'll hopefully go for some sort of cocoon flank. Bounty Hunter just uses Humble. We're gonna see the fight coming out. The entirety of blue team is just gonna be leaving now. Teleport coming out from Trigger, Jason, Luco taking the creeps. Jimmy doing his best to apply pressure and keep the numbers applied, but he's not going to be able to track for too long before they're just out. Trigger just going to defend in the top lane. We're going to see some droids marching up on the bottom there. A little bit of chip happening, but Trigger's there to go and take care of them. And each team just kind of clearing the droids. Trigger picking up the stealth orb here. It's kind of hard to say exactly how that goes down. We see Totem coming out from Jazz and a little bit of poking coming out from his magic sunballs. Trigger still not revealed himself. A slow-mo shot at the right choke point that's unexpected can really just permanent fight completely and terribly team stay in favor. He's gonna go ahead and burn the scene illumination. Not much gonna happen. Pot shot cocoon from Manager onto the right jump pad to try and get Luco Pal, but it's gonna be a miss. Luco getting some poke on to Body Hunter there, gonna take him down to about 2/3, but he's got a creep. Saw blade poke coming on to Paulo on the left, on that left jump out of there. Now they're gonna be pushing him back. Man, Paulo taking a lot of damage, going down to less than 50%. Blue team going up, just staying around that jump pad and, you know, trying to put some threats into the enemy jungle, but they don't want to get too far. Bounty Hunter busy clearing the bottom, Manager and Paulo clearing the top there. The Footsie Nuts looks like it might be about to come to an end. Manager's looking for Cocoon, and we're gonna see a fight coming out here. Totem and Sawblade coming out, dealing some damage. Blessing is keeping it in, the red team intact, and they're all gonna disengage. Everyone basically full health, about to go off cooldown once again, and more than likely start another fight. This time it's gonna be Jason Viz. If he gets the right totem here, which he's definitely trying to do it, he's not gonna find it. He wanted to get in from that barrier, but he got body blocked. And now, not really much else is happening. Both teams also about to level up. It's something of note. And so that means whoever gets first frag in the next fight if it happens soon enough. Oh, Manager gonna get slow-mo shot in there, and there's gonna be a cocoon right here, and you're gonna see Paulo charging both of them back, gets the danger bins, takes out in the process, but Body Hunter now has the swing and splay coming out, gets a double kill while Manager wipes them out. The sacrifice on Paulo that pinned all of them to their team, while, you know, he knew he was killing himself, he knew and trusted his team would follow up, and that's a 1 for 3. That's exactly what XiPang Disciples needed. Levels completely even now. They're gonna get rid of that bottom turret, and bringing the kills 14 and 14. A very, very nice Jimmy play coming out from Paulo. I gotta give him credit on that. And now they're going ahead and pushing that back turret on the bottom lane. They might just, I don't know if they're gonna get as pushed. Yeah, they're not as their own back turret is, which is only at a couple bars left, but they did manage to take a few off. They're doing that, you know, that was what they needed now. That is the chance they've been looking for. They did play passive for a few minutes, waiting for the opportunity to come back. But now Devmon, they're back in this. They got the solar and XP they needed to really contest what we, you know, what in order to contest a terribly named team in these fights. With their newfound solar, what do you think they're going to do with their upgrades?
Well, first of all, they're going to have a big team fight going on here. Actually, as Paulo misses the charge, he's going to back off right now, and Body Hunter's looking to assassinate as he gets close to the jungle, misses the anchor dive. And Anchor Drop does hit Trigger, but it's not going to result in many kills. The shield protects Wiggins for quite a bit of that damage that is done, but since there's no Kraken on that shot, there's no huge burst damage at the end. And that's actually going to lead to Body Hunter's eventually demise as he stays too long on the blue side of the map. For XiPang Disciples, in terms of upgrades, they probably want Spiritual Cooking, as I said before, is always a solid pickup. And I think that given the team comp, might actually want Slow on the Cocoon, since they don't have a team that can burst instantly. They might want that a little bit slow just to either to help the Genji survive or secure kills in team fights. Paul's going in, going really aggressive on Jazz, uses the auto attack, and actually uses his baby rattle to take out Scree there. He's going incredibly aggressive on Trigger, and so he's just like a monster of a baby that's going in to try to take out the whole team 1v3. Doesn't do so, and manages to back off and leave the red team at an advantage for push. It's been a really, really close game, though, I have to say. Both teams have been back and forth, and the upgrades that they pick have all been pretty useful, I'd say, for the most part. And in fact, for Trigger playing the max there, I'm surprised he hasn't picked up Kraken earlier. We see Mr. Manager's going to get pounced into the tower. He's going to look to get away. Barely does so. Does he? Doesn't. The Chain Lightning from the Lightning Rod is actually going to be enough to finish him off, even with all the heals, all the speed, and all the shield. And in that same token, Body Hunter's looking incredibly vulnerable. Uses the Anchor Dive to get a little bit damage. Uses the Anchor Drop to get into his shield, but is not quite enough to take anybody out, nor save himself, leaving the blue team at a 2-1 advantage. And they want that bottom tower. I can guarantee you that. You can see them pushing top tower at the moment, but they'll rotate the bottom, try to clean that up, and just get that base exposure that they need, which is a huge deal in Aguilion, with that stealth orb allows you to basically stealth the orb into their base, get some pokes, and teleport back without any repercussions unless they decide to defend their base readily.
I see a super shiner. Apollo's getting caught out. He's taking a lot of damage, and the slow is actually keeping him locked down. 1 for nothing, and it happens from just completely overextended. Wow, that they lose their back turret. That is not a good situation. They're actually going to be able to get some good base poke off of this. Manager having to get back. He's trying his best to defend, but he really can't flank without instantly dying there. He goes for a cocoon, actually manages to hit a very nice aerial cocoon there onto Triggerfinger, but he's getting harassed so hard by Jas that he can't even consider doing anything in regards to it. That base is now at 50% HP. Jas and Luco hanging out there. They might have to take a team fight. Trigger's waiting to find the right flank, and there it is. That was kind of a okay bait. They were going to get double killed minimum here. This was not the play that they should have made. They were trying to use that barrier to flank, and yeah, that didn't work. You guys got yourself such a nice, easy kill, and we gonna see Body Hunter's actually taken out, trying to take out Trigger here. Paulo doing his best to get there in time. It's gonna be a little bit too floaty, being max focus. Go home and teleport. I hope to see XiPang Disciples getting the bottom turret off of this, which they're trying to push up those droids as fast as they can. They're kind of disregarding the droids in top lane right now, so that they have that opportunity. They are going to manage to quickly knock out that top wave, just all three quickly smash it with their auto attacks, and now they're here. They're ready to tank it as much as they need. Penny back in lane, Scree coming from top, Miss Cocoon, they need to be careful. Totem, kind of fishing totem coming out from Jas there on that bottom lane. Nothing really gonna happen of it, but now kind of momentum reset, everyone clearing out the droids. Jas going ahead and trying to take the height advantage on that top lane. We're gonna see a triple teleport coming out here from the red team. Go in, just spin that last bit of solar. blue team escorting some droids up here. You're gonna see a big totem coming out here that's gonna push the red team behind that top turret. There's gonna be a slow-mo shot to further buy them time. That's gonna, and terribly named team is gonna use that opportunity to go ahead and take control of stealth and get rid of some droids on the bottom line, things like that. And just kind of reassert that third map control that they lost from that 2-for-0. And we're gonna see a totem coming out from Jas, and nothing is really gonna come out of it. He has that slow, he has that height. It's gonna be really impactful in these team fights. Big fight coming out here, and slow-mo shot, and it's coming down, and lots of damage coming out to Jas123C, who's gonna get taken out. Luco Powell going out just a bar. Apollo now taking out Triggerfinger. That's a 2-for-0. I didn't mean to say hype, by the way. Slow and knockback. I don't know why I said hype. I'm even visualizing knockback in my head. But anyways, 2-for-0. But we got droid chip going down on that red team base. But their own droids finally took it out. Luco Powell actually gets taken out right by the turret. Doesn't defend that successfully, and now we have a wiped out enemy team while the entirety of XiPang Disciples is now on the base. This might just be game here. Scree is about to be back in lane, but I don't know if he can do this. I mean, Saw Blade doesn't really do enough damage now. They got Trigger Finger, so now, you know, XiPang Disciples can't just face rush it, but they will be able to continue to get some numbers on the board. Saw Blade coming out on a Body Hunter, kind of just taking for his team. Paulo using the hitbox to hit above the base. And Moderate Blessing is going to happen, and Anchor Hook on the retreat there, and the entirety of Red Team is just getting out now. And we're probably going to see one last team fight, because, I mean, we got very low bases on both sides here. And just easily a double kill will decide this. What should each team be focusing on right now? Like, should both teams be being passive? Should both be aggressive, or should one do one while one does the other?
Honestly, at this point, I think that they both need to play aggressively to some degree. Playing passively is going to mean that blue team can't take advantage of the upgrades they've invested so often into. I can see if Max. He's got a whole bunch of focus on the scene illumination as well as these auto attacks. So the right thing to do, plays cautiously but aggressively at the same time. So taking advantage of totem initiations or taking advantage of cocoon initiations to get secure one pick. That might be the leading cause of core destruction at the end of the game here. Might see it though. Blue team's going back off for the most part. We're going back to the old farm until you get to the tower game. Blue team's looking maybe collapse, maybe try to defend that core. Red team's got the advantage of having the visibility open to them, and that might be what causes things to go crazy. See Scree's going crazy on his own, trying to get in there, unable to do so. Cocoon lands on Jas, leaving him open and vulnerable. The initiation from Swiggins goes out, does a lot of damage, but is unable to finish anybody off. Red team on the other team has to watch out because Body Hunter's taking a lot of damage, gets finished off by a pounce, and leaves the red team at a disadvantage. Penny's going to teleport right back at base, while Jas actually has to deal with the droids that the red team have been pushing into the bottom, leave them at a disadvantage for that. So even with the kill, they couldn't follow up with much else.
I have a question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being likely, 1 being not likely at all, how likely does this end in a base race?
Ooh. I'd say something like a 3. I don't think a base race is going to be the situation given how close they've been sticking together for the team fights. Such as in here, where the gym goes in, does the charge, managed to do decent damage. Looks like, yep, Penny's going to go take on Paulo, but Scree's going to go down in turn. Penny's going to try to go back to base. Trigger's going to get fished off, and that's actually a team wipe for the red team. That is an exposed core. That it has to be the win for red team. XiPang Disciples.
Yeah, they try to be aggressive and take a team fight there and try and, you know, force the hand of XiPang Disciples. But what went wrong there is that they forced the hand of XiPang Disciples, and now this match is going to go in their favor. Very close one, very low bases on both sides. Only one level advantage and 23 kills to 20. Just honestly, I would say more than anything, what went wrong here is terribly named team just kept on taking some fights that they shouldn't have. There's team fights you take, there's team fights you don't, and while they stick together, they work together well. And there was just like things like when, for example, they you had Luco and Jas when they went in the hallway of the red team space where that little creepus in the bush, and to bait the enemy team so that Trigger could flank with Max. It was like, yeah, I get your idea, I get your strategy, but like, come on, you're literally letting yourself get backed into a corner and hoping the fight starts that way, you know? Like, you putting all your eggs in one basket sort of They had some very, very nice clean kills, but just some situations were situations that they picked, but like they shouldn't have anyways. Then the last team fight at the red team base was just like nothing of, nothing that they had no business taking. They just had to chill a bit, footsie knots, do whatever it was. Also, the lack of gun penny was kind of like they would have won objectively because it just guarantees you way more push. And so if they got that much push without gun penny, then with gun penny, that would have been their one game. I know it's it's a lot easier to say rather than do. Say one upgrade would have changed things, but that's a call I'm pretty willing to make. Is that gun penny would have caused a blue team win here? Would you agree with that?
Actually, I wouldn't. I'd actually like to point out damage numbers. Penny actually did the lowest damage in the game. She was focused on burst and had to go in certain situations. But the nice thing about Gun Penny is that there's a consistent application of damage. And when it comes to push and when it comes to just general brawling, it's a fairly significant upgrade. And if you have situations where you're just playing footsie knots constantly, having the gun gives you the opportunity to basically harass them a bit more and set up situations where you don't have to play footsie knots, as you're able to go in and finish them off. So in this situation, I think that having gun, and maybe even like mid game, dropping up the chicken lunchbox for that for the gun, might have been a better situation. She only got gun right at the end, and I think she needed it a lot earlier.
Absolutely. And that's a fair enough point. I can agree with that. So with that said, so what are some of the things that, I guess, lessons the terribly named team should keep in mind most on the next game? Like it's easy to say, hey, play better, but is there any one thing in particular they should keep in mind during their match too? Anything that kind of triggers in your mind, no pun intended.
In this situation, I honestly think they need to be more aware of what the enemy strategy is, and to be able to build around that a little bit more. I saw some really interesting upgrades, say like the knockback on totems, which has a small stun to counteract like Swiggin's anchor dive, and also Jimmy's missiles. But in certain situations, they've been better to play around what the strategy they're building rather than the characters that they are. If that makes any sense, like there's several ways you can play a character and several ways you can play the team. And playing around that's the key to success, not necessarily playing around the characters like their individual characters.
Indeed. Well, with that said, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with our second match of Terribly Named Team versus XiPang Disciples. Do not go anywhere, my friend.
いクーデターを中止しろ。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Awesomenauts Rumble June gathers. We are in match 2 of our losers finals match between the terribly named team and the XiPang disciples. After a very, very close match, probably the closest match that we've had all weekend, and we're gonna see if terribly named team will be able to take it to a tiebreaker, or if this will be it, because if they lose this match, they are out of the tournament. Joining with me today is once again Devmon. You hanging in there, my good sir?
Yep, I'm here and I've got a cat on my lap.
Let's say hi to Casper the kitty.
Yeah, he's just being a suck right now. But anyways, yeah, we've got had the last match between XiPang's disciples and terribly named team, and that was really close in Gillion. Both cores were exposed. I think they're both less than half HP. It just came down to one last team fight in which terribly named team pushed themselves a little bit too far and got picked off. But we may see that again, we may not. It's up in the air at the moment whether it's going to happen or not.
Indeed. Looking at the drafts here, we got terribly named team is going to be banning out Genji and Swiggins and picking up a Vinny, Skolder, and Scree. And XiPang Disciples can be banning out Ix and Froggy G and picking up a Penny, Fox, a Scoop, and a Max Focus. Running a similar comp, but not the same as terribly named team did last game, but with a Scoop instead of the Scree. In fact, the Scree is still on terribly named team. How do you think that that difference in comp style is going to play in? Like what are the differences and the advantages and disadvantages of change?
Honestly, I kind of like the team a little bit better with the addition of Scoop instead. Scoop does a couple different things that I really like, and one of them is that he provides consistent CC that's easy to land with the hammer, and that's going to synergize extremely well with like a pulse or with a pounce. And also have Seen Illumination, so if, in this case, the Max decides to go for Seen Illumination first and go for Kraken stacked with Static Mysteries, that'll do a lot of burst damage. If that can be synergized with a hammer, that might be some really good guaranteed team fight damage. And that might be what they need to really secure a lot of kills. Otherwise, like Scree had utility defensively, I think Scoop's got a little bit more well-rounded utility in that he can do a few more things. But we'll have to see when it comes to that.
Definitely. One of the things I also want to point out is I would say Skolder hard counters Scoop and has the kind of a weird janky matchup on Max. Like, Max gets hit by a single CC that Skolder does. He's pretty much dead, but easier said than done. It's gonna like going versus Max as Skolder. I guess the best way to put it is high risk, high reward. I can't think of a better way to put it, honestly. So we're gonna have to see how that plays out. But with that said, I don't really have that much else to commentate. Are you ready to get into this?
Yep, I'm all set and ready at the 21-second mark.
Alrighty. In that case, why don't you guys down?
Sure, on go, we'll go. So 3, 2, 1, and go.
And we're off. On the red team, you got Lucapal playing your Vinny on Scree. Once again, I have Jess 123C, and Yellow gonna be summing up a trigger finger here. I guess those connection issues, need to be rectified, and he is gonna be playing the Skolder on the blue side of things. You got Body Hunter playing the Scoop. You got Paulo playing the Max Focus, and Mr. Manager gonna be picking up the Penny. So far, we don't see Skolder buying anything. Okay, he's getting Stun Punch, and we see kind of traditional builds here. We see silences on both the knots that can apply the silences, the Penny and Vinny. See Tripper with the Bell Scoop, and that Bites is going to come out, as well as a Pulse, as well as Slow-Mo Shot, Seen Illumination, and Totem, all going out there, dealing a lot of damage in the process. And Yellow going to go for a throw. He's going to miss. He's going to go through the fire route, taking a lot of damage. Lugo taking a lot of damage as well. Going to go ahead and consume that health orb. The entirety of terribly named team at their turrets right now. 50% HP. Blue team has a lot. So far, just from that team fight, exerted a lot of control. Red team is managing to slip their way back into that jungle creeps to spawn. They each managed to get the health, so that kind of went back in their favor. Hammer gonna come out, hit Lugo and Yellow in front of their turret. Droid's getting escorted up on the top lane, while the now XiPang Disciple's gonna clear the bottom lane. Let me go ahead and ask Devmon, how do you see the first blood occurring right now?
Ooh, now I may be an idealist, but I think that Yo, if he can manage to land a quick earthquake to get himself into position to throw somebody, I think that's how we're going to see it. As long as Scoldger does not screw up there, I think he's got a lot of potential to really cause the first blood. We have the pulse going out here, lots of damage going out. Scene Illumination does a lot of damage, does a lot of work, and the first kill goes to Luco, who was quickly finished off by Mr. Manager in return, so another 1-for-1. But throw did help there. Otherwise, I have to say, in terms of items and itemage, I'm really curious that Max has picked up the Intergalactic Police's Dirty Secret early on. It gives you a little bit of extra damage and gives you twice the projectiles, but usually Kraken's a little bit more better for burst, which doesn't matter in this situation where Yo actually lands a fantastic throw into the flying droids and turrets and basically gets scoop finished off there.
Indeed, indeed, and so far they're finding those franks, they're finding those throws, and you know that's exactly what they needed. Those are those kill conditions. Missions, and if they can consistently find that, then you know that won't be good for the blue team. On that note, I think as we talked about, I mentioned this about Max and Mr. Manager barely getting out with his life there, and now the counter initiation coming out, slow-mo shot, and scene illumination. Luca pops a cloud and they miss a lot of it though, and they're you know the kind of 5-piece of droids down there. Typically you kind of see a standard build on Scolder that most people go, and that's what we're seeing so far. Stun Punch and Boots, we'll probably see Oily come out, then Flowers. How early should he be picking up quick upgrades? When should he get that snare, and will he get the height? And I mean, I'm assuming he'll get the snare, but when/if will he get the height? Because I honestly think, you know, as long as he gets that CC in and he can to set up the throw, those throws are death traps for the enemy team. Like Penny and Max will die 99% of the time. So I think he should kind of be building. Throw right there, actually, right there in Mr. Manager. That one in particular wasn't a death trap because of what he still was above them. But I guess what I'm saying is that they can end up just completely locking down these otherwise squishy knots that are dependent on juking to stay alive and not, you know, their HP bars. Probably taking a lot of damage there. Slow motion knot coming out, and gonna see a very dominant right mid position coming out from terribly named team right now. But yeah, so about that question.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, in regards to that question, honestly, I think I see the possibility of Electric Hammer before gain the height. I think height's going to be necessary in this situation because, like you said before, Max is a huge issue for Scoldger, so any bit of Earthquake height combined with the snare is going to do a lot. Why would you go for, say, snare before height? And the reason is because the height doesn't perform as well without the snare. The throw does, on the other hand. We get a pulse going out, we get a pounce going out, we get lightning rod, and that's 2 kills for the blue team, 1 kill for the red team. Whereas Jazz is trying to get it back in there in the mid, looking to stop the flying droids, looking to get some return, but is unfortunately unable to do so. But yeah, you're likely to see snare before height because snare makes a bigger difference for height rather than height making a bigger difference for snare.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's typically what you're seeing. I guess I'm just kind of wondering, like, you know, would it become? Oh, well, that's not what I expect. I was gonna ask if it would be completely absurd for the snare to be completely just the next upgrade, but he's actually picking up the BKM, I guess, to kind of shrug off that silence, shrug off the knockback, the illumination, and the hammer. Make those a little bit more bearable. I guess he feels this though is that less so the maneuverability of the blue team and more so their CC is what's preventing his throw setups. That's what I would think would be the primary motivation for BKM here. We also see a BKM and Twister Lance coming out on Scoop here. We kind of a little period of footsie knots, which AI Station can be known for, though it's a bit more aggressive in the early game, so hopefully we'll see a fight soon. Scoop going in, trying to do a little bit of poke there. Hammer going to go out, hit Luca. There's the scene illumination. There's the bindings coming out and doing a lot of damage. He's going to go down to half. Found pop. Yellow finds the throw manager. He's going to have to disengage through the entirety of the scene there to back him up. And now we're going to see a little bit of footsie knots going down there on the bottom lane. The entirety of XiPang, the Disciples backing way up, doing a long rotation on top. That Quake just going to barely nick the body hunter, but they continue to cruise through the jungle. Now terribly named team is right back behind their own turret. Very back and forth, and each team is, throwing a manager. That's going to have to wait a second, taking a lot of damage, and he gets the pulse out of the last second, but it's still not going to be enough. Both Yellow and Luco getting behind their turret at like 100 HP, just barely surviving that auto attack of body hunters there. And now he's going to go down to the bottom, use bodies to clean that up, and get some push up. That almost went so wrong, and somewhere in that Jazz died also. I didn't even catch that, but that almost was it was a 1-for-1, almost a 1-for-3. That throw was really scary. I think Yellow might also want to be considering some throw damage. We definitely want to see as much numbers on the board come out, I think. as soon as Terribly Named Team can afford to do so. Damage upgrade wise, what damage upgrades do you think we'll see coming out next on either team?
Well, like first I'll start with Vinny Spike's built all his damage pretty much for Vinny for the burst there. That's fairly significant. Screed's got Sunballs, really good. You might go for some more saw damage either through double saw or might want to get some CC, so I might wait. Scoldier, I'm expecting the throw damage. Probably Power Breach because it's more affordable early on, and given his current slower, he doesn't really have much in pocket to really do with that. Other than that, Penny's got her double Starstorms, and given that she has Gun right now, I'm expecting to see Cookie Monster Badge next. That's my prediction there. Otherwise, for Scoop, probably Hammer damage, or better the triple Scoop, finishing that off, depending on how he feels about the enemy team. Right now, I don't think he feels so good about being thrown by Scoop, given the Brady Curry math that he does have at the moment. So he might opt for more of a Hammer-centric build, looking to capitalize with Max there. Speaking of capitalize, Luco is going to get capitalized on by Mantra in jungle, and basically be slain right there and then. Red team's unable to come up in time to help him, and it's left the blue team at quite a bit of an advantage. And the blue team's been doing pretty well, I have to say, for the push advantage. Red team top and bottom are actually doing quite low, and Gun Penny in this match doing quite a lot to keep Penny's damage up with the rest of the team and actually make her contribute quite a lot more than she normally would. Jazz going to be taken out as he actually finds himself a little bit too close to the blue side, and Mr. Manager is showing what Penny Fox can really do. A little bit of range goes a long way. Well, pun intended.
Absolutely. And they are, it's kind of getting back and forth. It's kind of, game is more in favor of XiPang Disciples than it is the same team at the moment. And Spike Knife coming out in a penny there. But it's relatively close. And around this time last game, it's actually the same situation, except here the team had the slight advantage. So it's kind of a reverse situation. We'll have to see if that means this Terribly Named Team's going to win this time or not. They are going to get a totem out on that in front of the blue turret, get a little bit of poke going down. Blue team being very cautious that they don't get thrown. But now they're actually starting to charge it up. There's going to be binds and slow-mo shot coming out. Now Manager's here on the flank. He should be able to pick up a double kill there. And Paulo's going to make the last hits happen. And now Jazz is out. This might be a max triple. He's going. There might be a hammer. There it is. It's instead going to be Manager with the last hit. But that's going to just be a very good 3-0 in favor of XiPang Disciples. And they have 3 flyers, 3 droids, and a super droid out on that bottom turret, and a super droid that's also going up top turret. They should be able to get base exposure off this less than 10 minutes into the game on AI Station 205. There it goes. Benny and Scolder are already on the top lane, ready to clear that out, but it's the bottom turret's gone, just like that. That was a very, very good flank that came out from Manager, because it's when he showed up, coming through that little bottom gap there, that on that top lane, that caused them to get that fight. Now they're taking a fight here right in front of the enemy team base. So now in the choke point, Scene Bubble and Hammer is going to take out Jazz. Yellow trying to track and find Paulo. He's a little bit of trouble doing that. Gets out by throwing droids. Luco spike dive Body Hunter, but not before, but excuse me, spike dived Max and killed him, but Body Hunter got the hammer to avenge him. But still, Manager and Body Hunter versus Yellow. They got that gun penny, they got droids, they got super droid. There's gonna be the bindings coming out. Yellow doing his best to defend. He doesn't have any real AoE. He's just third punching as hard as he can. Jazz is now back in lane. He tosses out a totem. Manages to get a Saw Blade. Doesn't do that much though. This might just be game for them. Think of that 50% base right now. They're down 2 levels, 6 kills. They have a solar disadvantage. You know, blue team is in the perfect position to snowball. They just picked up Oily Cup, or excuse me, Oily Cup. I'm like combining upgrade. Scolder picked up Oily Bronze, and Scoop picked up Holy Cup. But Holy Cup is such a dominant team, team fight winning ability. It's such an upgrade that just turns Scoop into literally a mobile, uncounterable hill bot. That the next team fight Terribly Named Team takes is going to be a lot harder than the ones they did previously. So I mean, and they, XiPang Disciples in this to win this. Here comes the fight. Bindings comes out, gets a double kill, and that's going to be another wipeout. Complete synergized burst off the jump pad. That's it. I mean, that's it, Devmon.
That is. That's extremely fast for an AI 205 game, given the size of the map and everything that went on, but XG had the damage, and I think that Penny showed herself a lot better as a character in this game than the previous games that we've seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just like that, I mean, XiPang Disciples is now 2-0, and we'll be moving on to refight Check Yourselves Esports again in the grand finals now. And though they're going to be a slight disadvantage because they will have to win 2 best-of-3s versus Check Yourselves Esports, because there is a bracket reset. They win 1 because of the double elimination tournament. But still, they come back. You know, they've already lost to them once, but XiPang Disciples is definitely one of the best teams in this game. And you think that if you guys recall May Gathers, this is actually the same 2 teams we saw meet in the finals of the last tournament also. And on that game, it was actually check out Celeste Esports, whose name was Doo Doo Demons last month. They had a little change there.
Yeah.
They actually were the ones going from the losers finals, and every single possible match got played. So like each best of 3 went to tiebreaker, so I would not count anyone out yet. It's really unclear who wins, who's taking home the cash prize, the Dance DLC, and I think what everyone's most hype about is that in-game tournament medal that you can't get any other way besides winning a Gathers tournament. Is there anything that terribly named teams should have done differently this match in particular?
Ooh, I mean, I have to say credit to them for having some really good throws in certain situations, but there are some circumstances in which case they were just really pried on. Really hard to say what to do specifically against what XiPang Disciples did, but perhaps looking at different utility upgrades. So, like we're talking about before, having Volcano for height combined with Stare, looking to hit the flyers with Stare to really capitalize on the damage for Vinny and Spike there. And although risky, I don't want to say that Dead Seahorse Head would be the right move, but given the damage and how squishy that the blue team was besides Scoop, maybe that might have been enough in certain situations, combined with throws, to absolutely murder them before they had a chance to counter-initiate, regardless of silence or not.
Absolutely. Well, with that said, we are going to take a short break. We're going to set up the grand finals and show our last 2 teams remaining, so do not go anywhere, my friends.